Hi there, welcome to the Dietary Restriction Kitchen. I'm Nat Ryan. Today in the kitchen, we're going to do something, again, a little bit different. And we're going to roast a vegetable that I've never eaten roasted. Now, I've had them raw lots of times. I use them a lot instead of raw onion because I don't really particularly like raw onion. So I use them quite often instead of that. And that is radishes, but I've never had them cooked. And so I happened to find this recipe online for roasted, butter glazed roasted uh, radishes, sorry. And yeah, with a little bit of fresh herbs. So I thought, wow, like let's give that a shot. So we're going to get started on that. Very simple ingredients. So of course you need your radishes and you need some butter. Well, they said butter, but we're going to use vegan margarine because it's just for the glaze at the end. And we're going to use some fresh herbs. Now I bought, like you might have actually growing your own fresh herbs, which you could use. I bought a package of dill. I really like dill with vegetables or anything roasted. So I really like that. So we're going to use a little bit of fresh dill, and you could use parsley, whatever fresh, anything like you want at the end. So apparently I haven't tried it yet, but we're going to try today. So let's get started. Okay. So the first thing we're going to need to do is get our radishes off of the greenery. We don't need any of this greenery. So what I like to do, just come out here and just get that right off. Okay. Like that. I'm going to toss that aside because we don't need that part. And I'm going to cut the ends off of all of these radishes and the little part that has the, where the root came out. Well, these are roots, but you see what I mean, right? So now we have like that. And we're going to deal with them in a minute. We're going to wash these guys after we've got them off of here. So off of their greenery, because I find that's easier than trying to wash with the greenery on there. So I've just got one bunch of radishes for this. I wanted to just give it a try. I didn't know how it was going to be. I thought, how many bunches of radishes do I want to buy, to try this out? And, I'm the guinea pig. I'm not going to put my family through this one because I don't know how it's going to be. I don't know if I'm going to like it. I'm kind of like, so that's a kind of a lesson. Trying to be careful here so I don't get my fingers. Kind of a lesson for you, because you want to, if you're experimenting with something, you may want to use yourself as a guinea pig before you do it for your family. I mean, if it works and you like it, then hey, go ahead, right? Do it in a bigger way. But so we're going to do it in a smaller way. The recipe that I found was like 2.5 pounds of radishes. I'm not going to do it that big. I'm just going to do the one bunch of radishes I got at the store. Okay, so there we go. Get the ends off. And okay, so there we go. So that all this stuff can be tossed aside as well, tossed out. And I'm going to wash those radishes, and then we're going to cut them so that they're all about the same size. Okay, I've given these radishes a wash, and and I've got them on the cutting board. I washed and dried them. And as you can see, they're irregular. Some are bumpy and all that. And some are much bigger, like that one's much bigger than this guy, right? So we want them to be about the same size. So what we're going to do is they want us to have half these. So for the small ones, I'm going to half them. For the big ones, I'm going to quarter them, right? So I'm going to see about that. And then we're going to put them all in a bowl together. So let's just get these small ones halved. I suppose you could do the small ones whole as well, but let's just do that. So I'm looking at my small ones first. That, I guess we'd call that one a small. So we want them about the same size. It's not going to be exact, but yeah. So there we go. Maybe we're going to third this guy because it's a little bit, yeah. Okay. Same thing with this guy. We may even, yeah, let's third it. So we just cut the one end off of it, and then, yeah. So now we're kind of getting into the larger ones, slightly larger. So we'd take a slice off it like that, and then with the other part in half. So I kind of thirded it, yeah. So that for those, then we're going to quarter these ones, put them in the bowl like quarters. They're kind of the same size. Okay. Let's take a sliver off of that and then quarter it. See if I could do that way. Okay, so not exactly completely all the same size, but pretty close. So that's what we've got there. Now we're going to just take some olive oil, and it doesn't need to be, you don't even have to measure this. We're just going to put some olive oil in there. And we're going to put a little bit of salt in there. So I'm just using a little bit of pink sea salt here. So got just a little bit for seasoning. Okay, and then we're going to get a spoon and then we'll toss them together. So I got a spoon. We're going to give them a little toss. Okay, so there we go. And then let me look at my recipe here because I've got the recipe over on the side here. We're going to arrange them in an even layer on a baking sheet. So there's my baking sheet. With aluminum foil on it. That's what they were asking for. And then we're going to put them on in an even layer. Well, this isn't going to be a problem because really I don't have that many. I'm just going to put them kind of in the center of this pan. And that's it. Okay, so and you don't have to cover that up. So we're going to put that in the oven for about 40 minutes. So I'm going to check them in about, well, 30, 25, 30 and see how they're going. But we put that in a 400-degree oven for that time and see how they're going. So you could see with the pan, you could get probably 2 or 3 bunches of radishes on here. But for trying this out the first time, we're going to just use the one little bunch of radishes. So let's get them in the oven and then we'll see in a little bit how they're doing. Okay, so the radishes have been in the oven for about 25, 28 minutes or so. So I'm going to give them a check. I've had them out once just to toss them a little bit and put them back in. I knew they weren't ready after 10 minutes or so. So let's check now and see how they're doing. So get them out of my oven. Oh, steam in my glasses. Okay, here we go. So let's have a look. Okay, let me adjust my camera here so you can see them. And I'll put the light on the subject. So let's have a look and see. Let me grab a fork here on the side and see if they're tender. Yeah, they feel pretty tender right now. So I'm thinking they're done, So they could be up to 40 minutes, they said. But that feels pretty tender to me. So I'm going to call that done. I'm going to turn off my oven. And the next thing we're going to do, okay, I'm turning that light off because I'm going to come back up and see you this way. What I'm going to do is I've got a little frying pan on the stove here. I'm just going to heat up about a tablespoon of the vegan margarine in there. So this is not an exact science. This is not like, oh, you need to be, so I'm just going to heat that up. All right, so just the vegan margarine on the stove. I'm not going to bring the camera over there. I'm having to use the camera on my laptop. I do have another camera, by the way. While it's heating up, I'll tell you about this. I have another camera, but I don't have a microphone for it. And so this is the challenge that I'm having right now. I have ordered a microphone for my camera. It is on the way, finally on the way. I had so much snafu with Amazon with that. Holy moly. Ordered the microphone for my camera twice. Each time they accepted the order. The order went through and then they canceled the order because they said, we're not sure we can deliver it to you. So this went on a little bit. And then I decided, look, enough is enough with Amazon with this. Who else can I get it from? And so I have found a retailer here in Canada that would send it to I ordered online with them, but that they could send it from out west to where I am here in Nova Scotia at the present. And so coming from Alberta to Nova Scotia, it's on its way, has not arrived yet. So once I get that microphone, then I'll be able to do the videos with a better camera and a better microphone, hopefully. So better sound, better picture quality. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so we've got the butter sort of melted on here. It's not really butter. It's vegan margarine. But let me move these guys out of the way for a second and we'll have a look. We're going to tilt our camera back again. Watch out, it's going to get bright. Okay, so So this is what I got to do at the present. So just letting you in on sometimes the challenges of this. Okay, so there's our melted margarine, vegan margarine. I'm going to toss, we're just going to put the roasted, oh my gosh, what I have here, roasted radishes right in with that to coat them. Okay, so what we're going to do is that's what they say in the recipe, just to coat them in the pan. So we can do that right on the stove, but you see the idea. Okay, and then we're going to take a little bit of the chopped, I got dill and I chopped it up already. I'm not going to add all of that dill to it, but I'm going to add some of that dill to it, add a little pepper, maybe add a little bit more salt. I mean, you do you. If you don't, I like salt. I'm kind of a saltaholic. Okay, so, and we're going to give these a try next. Okay, so there they are. I mean, I only did one bunch of radishes, so that just made like kind of like a soup bowl sort of full of them. So, but enough to give it a good solid try. So let's do that now. Let's give it a try and see what we think. So, that's not bad. Oh, the dill's nice with that. Oh my goodness. The dill really, they look kind of like a little potato, right? Like one of those little baby potatoes, like the little red-skinned ones. You put it in your mouth, and it's more watery than a potato, obviously. It's not as starchy, it's more watery. But it has still that peppery taste to it a little bit that a radish has, but it's not that strong, you know? It makes it a little bit, excuse me, a little bit like eating a piece of turnip or something like that, but not that sort of, yeah, I like it better. It's sort of, and with the dill is lovely with it. I would really recommend dill. You could use parsley, but I think the dill really adds something to that. Yeah, they're not bad. That's not bad. It's not a starchy vegetable kind of thing. It's not like, I know their radishes are a root, right? Obviously, or tuber, if you will, a tuber root. But and so when you're doing a root vegetable, you're always thinking like, oh, this is gonna be starchy. It's gonna be like my starchy vegetable. This isn't really starchy like that. You know, this is more like a side dish or your vegetable portion of a meal. It isn't I wouldn't use this in place of potatoes, right? Or in place of rice or something like that. I'd use it with those, accompanying those, but not instead of those. Because there's a lot of juiciness to that. Like you bite into that, at least there's a juice. But it's good. So again, I'm glad I tried it. I hope you give it a try. And I think this is a great way to do radish that's different, right? It's different. And again, a great little recipe, and this is actually really, really easy to do, as a different kind of vegetable to give your family or on a meal or like people coming over. This would be lovely for that. I mean, radishes, like these little radishes are usually spring and into the early summer, spring and summer vegetables. It might work really good as a vegetable for like Easter dinner or something like that. And no, I wouldn't just do these, but if you got like, you're making a turkey or ham or maybe salmon or something for Easter, and you got different vegetables, and this would be another vegetable you could add to your lovely table for Easter, let's say, something like that, or some early summer celebration. They don't take that long in the oven, really. It's like 25 minutes. under 30 minutes, and they're fork tender, still have a little give in to them, but really nice. I definitely do this again. So I hope you give it a try. Thanks for stopping by today. Excuse me. And visiting me here in the Dietary Restriction Kitchen. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.